2021 and question 1.1. Okay, I'm gonna make this short. Okay, so 1.1 asked you to calculate depreciation for the year. Okay, so what you need first is your year end. Okay, so the financial year of Victoria Limited ended on the 30th of June 2020. Okay, so now the year ended on the 30th of June. When did it start? It should have started on the 1st of July 2019, and like they told us, 30 June 2021, right? So since they asked you to calculate what? The total depreciation, you need their tangible assets. So usually their tangible assets is your vehicle and equipment, right? So remember that we don't depreciate on land and buildings because it appreciates, right? So we always have vehicles and equipment. So the next step that you need to know your rate of depreciation as well as the method of depreciation, right? And you also need additional information like your cost price and your accumulated depreciation. Okay, so when you turn to the next page, you're given this information that we need right here. So the cost price of vehicles is 4,220,000. For equipment is 968. Then this negative asset over here that we call accumulated depreciation, it is 1.3 million for vehicles and 327 for equipment. Okay, so another information that you need is this one over here, that tells you about the rate of depreciation and the method of depreciation. So for vehicles is 20%, equipment is 15%, right? So you were told, right? Okay, this information just tells you that depreciation and equipment was not recorded. Okay, and then vehicles is depreciated at 20% diminishing and equipment is depreciated at 15% cost price. And then now for this table, they actually told you that one of the equipment was sold, right? Then they just gave you the cost price, accumulated, and the selling price. Okay, so let us calculate depreciation. Okay, let's just fill this in first. So for vehicle, we know it's 20% on diminishing. Okay, and then here is 50% on cost price. So remember, when you calculate depreciation on diminishing, we use the carrying value of that asset. Okay, the carrying value is cost less accumulated depreciation. And then when you use the cost price method, we just use the cost price of that particular asset. Okay, so let's start with vehicles. Okay, so remember that when we calculate depreciation, we always do what? We have to separate the calculation, because if you just use the balances at the beginning, the cost price and the accumulated depreciation, your depreciation will be wrong. The reason is because one, we might have sold one of the vehicles there. Okay, so if we sold one of the vehicles there, it means it doesn't belong with us anymore. So you can't calculate depreciation for the entire financial period. As you know that the formula is CV, or cost price multiplied by the rate multiplied by 12 over 12. So you saying 12 over 12 will be wrong for some of the vehicles. Okay, so you need to now separate this calculation for the sold vehicle, for the old vehicle or the remaining, and then for the new vehicle, right? So when we look at our vehicles, we actually don't have a sold vehicle or a new one. So therefore, you just write, okay, the value is 0 here, and for the new one, the value is 0, right? And then just calculate for the remaining or the old, right? The formula using the diminishing balance method, right? It's what? It's CV multiplied by the rate multiplied by the time over 12, right? So the carrying value of the vehicles, we're just going to use the beginning balances and not subtract anything from them. The reason we don't have a sold or a new vehicle. Okay, so the cost price is 422 and then the accumulated is 1325. We're going to use accumulated because of the CV. Okay, so we know that the carrying value is cost less accumulated depreciation. Okay, so the cost price of this asset we said is 4,220,000, right? And then the accumulated depreciation is 1,325,000. Then you close your bracket. What is the rate? We know the rate from here, that is 20%, right? It's 20%. And then how long did we use this asset? Over 12. How long? Okay, we use it for the entire financial period, and then you'll just punch this on your calculator. So you'll just punch this everything on your calculator, and how much are you going to get? Okay, I got 579,000, and therefore depreciation on vehicles, just vehicles, is just 579,000. So if you had figures for the sold and the new, you are just going to add all of them, and then your depreciation for vehicles will be whatever amount is it. And then for equipment, we use the same thing, right? We say the sold, the old, and the new, right? So looking at this information, we actually do not have a new equipment, sorry, so it's 0, right? And then our sold, yes, we do have a sold equipment. Here it is. So the formula, since we are using the cost price method at 15%, you say cost price, the cost multiplied by the rate multiplied by the time over 12. Now, what is the cost price? It is 40,000. The rate is 15, and then the time over 12. So we need to now determine how long did we use this asset in the financial period. So meaning you count from the beginning of the financial period up until the month in which we sold it, right? So from July, it's July, August, September, October, November, December, January. You're going to count January because this is the end of January. But if it was the beginning of January, you are not going to actually count it. So it should be 40,000 as the cost price, multiply by 15%, and then multiply by 7 over 12, and that will give you 3,500 when you just punch everything on your calculator. Okay, so it's 3,500. And then for the old, remember that for the old, whether you're using your cost price method or your diminishing balance method, you need to deduct the cost price of the sold vehicle as you have already calculated, sold asset as you have already calculated is depreciation, right? So you remove the cost price of the sold asset as well as the accumulated depreciation at the beginning of the year of the sold asset. So we know that at the beginning of the year for equipment we had 968, right? So this 968, you'd say, okay, the formula first is cost price multiplied by the rate multiplied by the time over 12. Okay, so the cost price we said it's 968, right? So this amount is no longer correct because we still have the cost price of this sold asset. So you need to remove it first. Say, what is the cost price? It's 40,000. You remove it first before calculating depreciation. Then you say multiply by rate, multiply by time. So how long did we use it in the financial year? Yes, it's 12. So therefore, you just punch everything in your calculator, and you should get, okay, and then multiply by 15%, multiply by 12 over 12, okay? So 139,200, so that's the amount that you should get. So it's 139,200, right? So your depreciation for equipment, you just add all of this up, 0 plus 3,500 and then plus 139,200, then it will give you 142,700. 142,700. So depreciation, the total depreciation for the year now so the total depreciation, remember that for vehicles, we got how much? We got 579,000. It's 579,000. And then for equipment, we got 142,700. So you just say for equipment, it's 142,700. Yeah, it's 142,700, and then you add them together. So 579, and then it should give you 721,700 as your total depreciation. Okay, so that's all, guys.